I think since we're talking about Rick Hahn, we should segue into the Wrath of Hahn and Kenyon Middleton and the news that broke about the White Sox this week and the culture within the organization that apparently started with Tony La Russa coming in there as manager and has not been fixed
Might be
by,
before that, but
yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, it was Robin Ventura before that, wasn't it?
and
Yeah.
Renteria.
On Renteria. Yeah, you're right. It was before that because there was someone alluded to that fact that um, players are not being held accountable. They're
You've heard the word accountability a lot.
a lot. Uh, players, rookie relievers sleeping in the bullpen.
That was refuted by Rick Hahn himself.
Yeah,
It was a rookie position player sleeping in the clubhouse.
yeah. So there you go. So at least we know that.
He has severe narcolepsy. It was a situation that had to be dealt with.
Then just general, Middleton made general, that players weren't held accountable. Lance Lynn was interviewed on AJ's podcast, and his response was funny.
I saw that
when he said he AJ flat out asked him, and he said, "Well, I'll tell you what's not true," and then he just didn't say anything.
He just shut his mouth and smiled.
Yeah. I'll tell you what Key said that wasn't true.
It took me a second to understand what he was doing.
Yeah.
And they were
like, "Oh, yeah, we get it.
We get
it." So, now Lance Lynn does have a history of when he leaves organizations of kind of trashing them.
I can't imagine him doing that.
I know. He left the Cardinals and bad mouthing them. I don't know. Actually, I saw that. I don't know if he said anything bad about Texas, but about the Rangers. But anyway, so there's obviously, I believe there is truth in what was said. The thing that came out later, two things that came out later was, one, players were named by unnamed source that.
You're talking about the Jesse Rogers report?
Yeah, the Jesse Rogers report. Thank you, Ryan. That Yasmani Grandal was no lazy,
friend to the pitchers.
Yeah.
That was a weird way to phrase that.
That him and Tim Anderson got in. Anderson, he slapped Anderson in the face because Grandal had said something about he wanted to leave, and Anderson said, "Fuck, fine, I'll fucking pay for your flight."
Yeah, it was the day before the All-Star break, and he wanted to get out of there, and so TA is like, "Yeah, I'll pay for your fucking flight." And Yasmani came over and gave 5 fingers to the face. Slap.
That was refuted by Grandal. I don't think Anderson was asked about it, or if he was, it wasn't.
Anderson hasn't spoken in
Well, he went crazy on Twitter, but that's a whole nother.
It was kind of scary, actually. Yeah, I was worried about him.
That Yoan Moncada, which I'm not surprised by this one. This goes back to the idea that if you pay a player too early, maybe they get lazy and just sit back and take their paycheck, which you've talked about many a times. And he is just doesn't go through the routines, which would make sense why he's injured all the time if he's not going through the workouts properly and not keeping his body in the proper shape. That would be why he gets injured all the time. Then there was Eloy, and the Eloy comment I found was interesting because Eloy's comment wasn't necessarily that Eloy was lazy. It was just like Eloy was just fun and carefree.
But he doesn't really, he's not dedicated, I guess, is the way I interpreted it. But he's not a bad guy, but
it was like it's like whoever made the comments was like, well, Eloy's just Eloy, was like basically what the comment was.
But maybe he's just too childish or immature. Maybe was what they're getting at. I don't know.
Yeah. So that all came out. Hahn, of course.
Oh, he refutes everything.
He refuted that. And he had an interesting, I thought he had an interesting Kenyon Middleton story, which Kenyon did not deny when he just chose not to comment on it. So that Middleton came. He's like, I find it ironic because Middleton came to me to apologize for his behavior, and went on and on. I'm not gonna bore everyone with
I do want to bring up, he did say ironic, because I found it ironic that Rick Hahn was talking about the sanctity of the clubhouse and how things shouldn't be talked about outside the clubhouse, yet he was ready,
I know,
ready,
right?
willing, and able to throw Kenyon Middleton under the bus in the next breath. So that I found a bit ironic.
Well, maybe because Middleton was no longer in that clubhouse.
Oh yeah,
yeah. No, the rules.
Bus backing up. Beep beep beep.
So it was just another embarrassing moment that has started since La Russa walked in the door. Like that to your point, as you said in the opening, the Sox continue to get national media coverage, but for the wrong things.
I would argue, does this start? I mean, this is our blog and everything else, but does this start back in the Drake LaRoche shit? Is this?
Oh, that's true. You're right.
Does this come back to the Chris Sale craziness? I mean,
yeah, you're right. There's a long list and a long list of crazy.
There's a through line with all of this. I mean, at times, I think when the Sox were rebuilding, the spotlight was taken off because they weren't supposed to be winning by design. So I wonder, as soon as the spotlight came back on, that same through line emerged again.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not gonna, I can't argue either way on that, but I would say there is a history of national media coverage for negative things occurring in the White Sox organization.
It goes don't hear about anywhere else.
It goes all the way back to the Black Sox, really, Ryan. It goes all the way back to that.
This is what I've been trying to tell you since the day we started this blog in 2010 or 2011, whenever it was.
Whatever.
The White Sox will be endlessly entertaining for the rest of time.
That's why they got their own handle.
Word Hole Media.